Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the Gateway School Board of Directors regular board meeting. Today is Tuesday, January 21st, 2020. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have a roll call, Bonnie?
Here.
Mrs. Cerrucci?
Here.
Mrs. Delaney?
Here.
Mr. Gallagher?
Here.
Mr. Gottman?
Here.
Mr. McIntyre?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Here.
Mrs. Warning? Mr. Williams?
Here.
Thank you. We don't have a student representative tonight, do we?
No.
Okay. I'm going to move to comments from residents on agenda items. I see that Mr. Stankovich, would you like to go first, sir? Please just step to the mic and state your name and your residency.
Ken Stankovich, Monroeville resident for 22 years now. First off, I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. And reason for being here tonight is, first of all, I'm president of the Gateway Football Boosters Association. And as I think we're all aware of, 2 months ago, our football program completed a tremendously successful season with a WPIL championship. And one thing I think we saw this year was a little less excitement, being that we just did this 2 years prior. And one thing I want to try to express is how tremendous an accomplishment this is. You look at the great history of Gateway football, and when we won it 2 years ago, that was the first time Gateway's won a WPL championship in 30 years. And there's been some remarkable football teams through those years. This is a huge accomplishment. And our players and coaches, we feel, should be rewarded. So 2 years ago, we purchased championship rings. And I'll pass these around. Please get it back to me, or else my son will kill me. That's his ring from 2 years ago. But I said 2 years ago, we did a lot of homework and research, who's the best options out there, where to get rings, the best value. And we found a place out of New Jersey, actually. So 2 years later, we're doing it again. And we're fortunate to have an alum in Tony Petroselli, who is a great ambassador for Gateway School District and definitely a friend of the football program. 2 years ago, he headed a fundraising campaign and successfully raised 100% of the proceeds to cover the cost of the rings 2 years ago. This year, after winning the WPL championship, posed the same question to Tony, and he was, again, open to doing so, but very cautious. He goes, Ken, when we did this 2 years ago, the community, everyone was excited. This hasn't been done in 30 years. Now it's 2 years later, and we're reaching back out to them again. He goes, I'm not optimistic. And the results have been, have shown to be true. To give you a rough idea, we're looking at approximately 80 rings at $165 a piece. The cost, we have a couple of discounts that'll bring our cost to about $12,700. To date, we have raised a little over close to $7,000. We've raised over half of it. And we're now running dry. In addition to Tony's activities, we sent out over 100 letters to the Monroeville business community, resulting in close to zero response. There have been a few exceptions, and one exception I do want to bring to your attention is Sbrm. Generously has made a very generous donation. So I know it's a program that the school district hires as our athletic trainer, and they are giving back. So thank you to them. But I said, so what I'm reaching out, and it was Rick McIntyre who has reached out to me, asking the school board to help make up the difference. Our football program definitely parallels the Gateway School District. We have families that can write a check without thinking twice about it. And we have families that even if it comes down to $50, it may as well be $50,000. They don't have it to do it. So anything that anyone can do to help us raise these funds and minimize or totally eliminate the cost that would have to go to the student athletes, we would appreciate that. So tonight I'm asking the school board, any help at all to help cover these costs would be greatly appreciated, and realize that you are in a difficult budget situation, very tight budgets, we all know that, and but anything at all would be appreciative and helpful. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer, but that's all I had tonight.
Any questions?
Okay.
Not necessarily a question, just thank you for taking the time and for the time involved in being the president of the Boosters.
Yes, absolutely.
My mother did that for several years at Woodland Hills. That's no bargain. That was a lot of work. Just on the topic of the rings, I'm actually wearing mine tonight. I was fortunate enough to be part of a championship team with Woodland Hills as a coach. And I'm not a terribly sentimental person when it comes to things. This is one of my absolutely most valued possessions. Just when I put it on, just you get flooded with memories, and it's a huge accomplishment that these kids have made, and I'd hate to see anybody go without one.
It is, and seeing our ring ceremony 2 years ago, which we did at the school, to see the look on the kids' faces when they actually got their rings, that alone was priceless. But then knowing that the value of the ring isn't going to be as much today as it's going to be 20 years from now when they're talking to their own kids, or 40 years from now when they're talking to their grandkids, and to be able to rehash, you know what, yeah, we did this.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to accomplish. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Ken. Is there?
I think I trusted everyone but Scotty. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. He already had it on the finger.
That was kind of appropriate. You were a two-time Whoopi old champion, weren't you?
Okay, I don't know if I'm going to say this right. Davided Woods? Davided. Mr. Woods. How about I go with Mr. Mr. Woods?
I don't know if we're too late. We were here to speak on behalf of Coach Hall for athletic director. Is that too
You're
late?
not too late.
Okay.
It's not really an agenda item, but because you waited so
Okay.
long for us to come out, I'm going to waive that.
Sorry. More or less, like, we coach and are board members for Gateway Midget Football, GMFCA. We're board members. Since Coach Hall's been here, like, he's fully engaged himself with our program, like facilities, his knowledge, so on and so forth. He's just been completely helpful to us, to where we would like to see, you know what I mean, have him get the opportunity to be the athletic director. You know, he's been so involved with our program.
Yeah, and once we did, we received notification that he was up for consideration. One of the things that we really sat down and thought about was how engaged he is, not only with the young men of our football teams, but also the young women of our cheerleading association. The time that he takes out of his own personal schedule to come down and speak on behalf of not only Gateway football and cheerleading, but also just the school district, at large. It speaks volumes to these young men and women that'll actually be coming up in our district in the near future. They look up to him as a leader. They look up to him as someone that they can speak to and speak freely to at games. I'm sure you guys see the kids running around like bandits at the football games on Fridays. So he gets really engaged with each and every young person in this community. So we just wanted to come here and just show our support for him, and to just acknowledge him as a figure in the community. So thank you all so much.
Thank you for taking the time and for waiting us and for your kind comments. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak on agenda items? Okay, seeing none, let's move to Section A, minutes from previous meetings. Anyone want to take that? You want me to read it? Resolved that the Gateway School Board of Directors approve the minutes of the following previously held meetings: our reorganization meeting, December 3rd, and our combined study session, December 3rd.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments? Where's Mr. Ritter? I have to look at the new seating arrangement. Approve?
Great to me.
Okay. Let's have a roll call on approval.
Mrs. Cerucci?
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney? Aye. Mr. Gallagher?
Aye.
Mr. Gottman?
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre? Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Caleri?
Aye.
Great. Motion approved. Section B, financial reports. Mr. Schott.
Section B, resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approve Sections B1 list of bills, B2 monthly financial statements, and B3 budget transfers as listed in Section B at the Tuesday, January 21st, 2020 regular board meeting.
So moved.
Second. I'm louder than you.
Okay, I think the second went to Mr. McIntyre. Did you get that, Bonnie?
I got that.
Are there any questions or comments? Just kick them under the table. Seeing none, roll call?
We might have to check the seat arrangement.
Mrs. Delaney?
I think so. Two are going to
Mr. Gallagher?
separated.
Mr. Gottman?
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Caleri?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci?
Aye. Section C, we have no items tabled, so we'll move on to Section D, personnel. Mrs. Crump.
Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors accepts and approves the personnel agenda items 1 through 7 as listed in Section D for the regular board meeting of Tuesday, January 21st. Under resignations, we do have one addition since the study session. Judy Hakis has been with the district for over 22 years and will be retiring at the end of this year, so we wish her well. Under leave of absence, there are no changes since the study session. Transfers, per the collective bargaining, we do have 2 additional transfers listed. We do have a new section for employment. As you noticed, we had some resignations, so we did do interviewing in the last 2 weeks, and we have 2 paraprofessionals that we are bringing forward for employment. Under supplemental contracts, there are no additions. Athletic event workers and volunteers, no additions.
So moved. Second.
You can give Mr. Clary that second. Are there any questions or comments on Section D?
I just have a comment. I've had the pleasure many years working with Judy Hakis, and she's going to be missed, but it's her time now. So Judy, wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll do a roll call to approve Section D.
Mr. Gallagher?
Aye.
Mr. Gottman?
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Caleri?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci?
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney?
Thank you very much.
Section E, conferences and conventions. Dr. Chakey.
Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves and authorizes following conferences and conventions as listed in Section E at the regular board meeting of Tuesday, January 21st, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
That was a motion by Mr. Williams, second by Mr. Gottman. Any questions, comments on the conferences since last week? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Gottman?
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre?
Aye.
Mrs. Ritter? Mr. Ritter?
I'll call her.
Dr. Call her. Mr. Ritter? Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Caleri?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerucci?
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney? Mr. Gallagher?
Aye.
Okay, great. Section F is administrative report. That'd be
Dr. Rossi.
Dr. Rossi.
Item number 1, we have final approval of the following policies that were placed on public display in November of 2019 as listed. Approval of applicant.
Let's go back to the list of conventions. And Susan, you're on there as going to a convention? Okay.
Shouldn't vote.
She should, let's make sure the record reflects that she's abstained on
Okay.
that vote. Okay? Because there's some money involved in it, you shouldn't vote on it. And sorry, I didn't catch it, Rick pointed it out to me, so note her vote as an
I sure
abstention.
will. I will.
You guys want to pull your microphones down?
Unless you don't want anybody to hear you. No one heard her say abstain.
I didn't, that's what I thought I heard her
Right.
say.
Abstain, you want me to say?
Yes.
For the record.
Mike can creatively edit that.
All right, we were on policy review. Are all of these, have all of these been on 30-day review?
These have been displayed since November.
Due to the month.
Timing of the meeting in December, we couldn't approve it in December.
All right, so we're good. Okay.
Item number 2 is a textbook, approval of the African American Odyssey 2020 from Pearson Education. Item number 3, approval to participate in the Story Time STEM Packs project with the Allegheny Intermediate Unit. And item number 4, accept the 2019-20 PA Smart Targeted Grant to accelerate learning and professional development in computer science.
Item number 5, facility agreements with Gateway Softball Boosters, Boy Scouts of America, and Gateway Midget Football and Cheerleading Association.
Item number 6, recognize the following district booster clubs and support organizations who have properly submitted applications to the district for the 2019-2020 fiscal year, specifically boys basketball, boys and girls swimming and diving, and boys volleyball. Item number 7, approve the Tri-Cog Land Bank's notice of intent to acquire one Pitcairn property located within the Gateway School District and the waiver of all applicable taxes, tax claims, and municipal claims due against the property as depicted in Exhibit A. Item number 8, approve the printing agreement extension with Herff Jones for the required printing services associated with the high school yearbook and a base price amount of $13,636.80 for the 2021, 21-22, and 22-23 fiscal years as depicted in Exhibit B. Item number 9, accept the following district donations received during the 1920 fiscal year, specifically from Chief Doug Cole and Officer Mark Kandrak from Monroeville Police Department, Christmas toys, Daly's Juice, 15 cases of hugs, Lana Alamin and Jennifer Conklin, $50. This is for the backpack program for the district. Item number 10, approve the renewal of the 5-year charter for the Sbrm Charter School, Inc., with all requested charter amendments for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2024, as depicted in Exhibit C. Item number 11, approve the advertisement for request for proposals from vendors for athletic trainer services. And item number 12, approve the district settlement of CM Regent file number 228933 with the district's payment of $1,000 to claimant.
Motion to table item number 10.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion for tabling the approval to renew the 5-year charter for Sbrm Charter School and a second.
Vote.
Pardon me?
Vote.
Yeah, roll call.
We need a roll call on tabling. Paul seconded.
Number 10. One moment, please. Roll call to table. Mr. McIntyre?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Caleri?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerrucci?
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney?
Aye.
Mr. Gallagher?
Aye.
Mr. Gottman?
Aye.
Motion carries to table.
Motion to approve the remaining 11 items.
10.
11.
11,
Sorry.
The remaining items with the exception of number 10.
yes.
Correct.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there questions or comments on any of these items? Moving right along.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
I accept 2, number 7 and number 12.
Number 7 and 12. Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Caleri?
Aye.
Mrs. Cerrucci?
Aye to all.
Mrs. Delaney?
Aye.
Mr. Gallagher?
Aye.
Mr. Gottman?
Aye to all except number 7.
Mr. McIntyre?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, motion carries. Sorry, just taking some notes. All right, Section G, resolutions presented by board members. Mr. McIntyre.
Approval to assist with purchase Gateway Football Boosters WPIL Championship rings during the 2019-2020 fiscal year. Approve the district's assistance with the Gateway Football Boosters purchase of Whitfield Championship rings for the Gateway High School football team in the maximum support amount not to exceed $6,000 during the 1920 fiscal year. Note that the Gateway Football Boosters and Gateway alumni have requested ring sponsors from fellow Gateway alumni and various businesses in Monroeville and Pitcairn. A final support amount required from the district, if necessary, will be determined in February, subsequent to the reconciliation of all ring sponsors who have submitted payments for the purchase of the rings. The board will be notified of the actual support amount required from the district.
Okay, questions, comments?
Yeah, I have a comment. I like that clause that says there's still opportunities for anyone out there who wants to step forward and make donations to this memorable ring for these students. Now's a good time to step forward, but if you're not able to do it, that this resolution says that the Gateway School Board wants to honor these students for the great achievement that they had.
I guess my question would be, you think you can raise 350 more bucks? Can you raise 350 more bucks? You said you made it about halfway, so we're 350 off.
Good.
I just want to make a comment too. I know probably get a lot of negative comments, but I really feel with what the athletic teams do for our district, the district should support them in all of their endeavors. So hopefully, next year, we can pick up the whole purchase for all our athletes. With that,
All shot.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Warning.
aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Caleri.
Aye.
Mrs. Cerrucci.
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney.
Aye.
Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Gottman.
Aye.
Mr. McIntyre.
Aye.
Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Our pleasure. Are there any comments from residents on non-agenda items? Seeing none?
Bonnie, where did these cups come from?
The mugs were from the Gator Cafe, the crew that works in the Gator Cafe at the Gateway High School, as well as the pens. If you notice, there's an ink pen with
Stole
Gateway.
mine.
Policy changes 004.
It is School Board Recognition Month, and we wanted to just honor all of our board members, new board members. Students and staff appreciate all the work that you put in, all the hours dedicated to the organization, and it's just a little token of the appreciation. And if you do have an opportunity, I always invite you to stop up and see the Gator Cafe in work in progress, because it's quite a special environment, and truly hats off to all of our students and staff involved in that. But thank you for all your efforts as board members.
Thank you. Let's move on to reports. We'll start with you, Mrs. Bungart. Do you have anything? Dr. Chaky.
Just a reminder about next Thursday, a celebration of equity work within our district will be taking place from 7 to 8:30 at the high school LGI room. So everyone's invited. Hopefully we have a good turnout to have community members come and help us draft, which will be the fifth school district in the state with an equity policy.
And will you be presenting that evening, Dr. Chaky?
Yes, I will. We'll be providing updates and a lot of information about some of the great work that people are doing within our district.
Look forward to it. Dr. Rossi?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Schott?
Nothing further, thank you.
Mrs. Crump, who are you hiring?
We're always looking for paraprofessional and school police.
Anything else?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Mrs. Delaney?
Yes, I have a few things I want to say. First, having had the opportunity on several occasions of working in the cafe at the high school, I appreciate and really thank them because if you haven't been up there to see the actual working of the students in that cafe, you've really missed something. They're very hardworking, very, very serious about what they do, so I definitely appreciate them just as much as they're appreciating us. And then yesterday, having been the observation of Dr. King, if you didn't have an opportunity to do either some kind of service work or attend a program, I did attend a program which actually was at Woodland Hills High School it was in the high school doing the program. The host, it was from the Heritage Gospel Chorale of Pittsburgh, and they just used the facility there. And it was called Let Freedom Sing, and it was a very good program. I'm hoping that Gateway will be able to have some programs in the future as well, in observation of whether it's Dr. King's birthday, or even if it's just during Black History Month. I don't know if anything's are in progress yet. And then another thing I would like to leave, again, a quote, and this is one of Dr. Martin Luther King's quotes. And I think so much what resonates with me was our pastor, Reverend Dr. William H. Curtis. One of the things that he used in his message was focus. And I think as school board directors, we have so much we have to be focused on: the students, the teachers, the residents. And we want to make always the best decisions with that in mind. And that was something Dr. King was really known for, was his great disciplined focus and his concentration. This quote says, and this was during the time of the Great March on Washington, D.C., "We are now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now," and that part of it alone I always like. "In this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such a thing as being too late. Procrastination is still the thief of time. Life often leaves us standing bare, naked, and dejected with a lost opportunity. The tide in the affairs of men does not remain at the flood, it ebbs. We may cry out desperately for time to pause in her passage, but time is deaf to every plea and rushes on. Over the bleached bones and jumbled residue of numerous civilizations are written the pathetic words, too late."
Rev Gallagher.
Yeah, I want to also thank for the gifts. I collect coffee cups and tumblers, so this will have a special place after it's used for a while. Also, I wanted to thank the community for your patience as you waited for us to come out of executive. It wasn't too long ago that I was sitting in those seats looking up at the clock. There's actually business going on. We're not back here. Just enjoying one another's company. But again, I want to thank you. I apologize for that delay and appreciate your patience. And being a Navy guy, I look forward to working on that.
Just get here at 5.
What's that?
Yes. Get here at 5.
But if I'm here at 4:45, I'm already late for 5.
Thank you. Mr. Clary.
Can I get a new seat? How do I follow this? Thank you for the cup. I don't have anything further.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre?
Nothing at this time.
You never have anything. Okay. Dr. Short?
I just thanked everyone earlier.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add? Any upcoming announcements?
Just a reminder to our students, especially our seniors, as we move into the second semester. Parents as well. It's important that we do not lose our focus on the upcoming and intended graduation requirements. I've seen it over the years as a high school principal that you reach that second semester and kind of ease off a little bit. However, the work is still required, the credits are still required, the grades, and then the final transcript is ultimately what you're looking for to finish out your 13-year career and earn your high school diploma. So I urge all parents, guardians, stay involved through the end. Unfortunately, direct result, part of our job is to make phone calls at the end of the year, notifying parents of pending graduation, as well as some individual students who perhaps did not meet the requirements. And I can surely say that it's probably one of the worst phone calls I could ever make. So please, let's not have that happen this year. It's been an incredible group of seniors. I know a few of them very personally over the years, and it's a great group, and I just want them to finish strong.
Agree, thank you. Mr. Galtman?
Yes, first off, Mr. Ritter did want to say he has no report for this evening.
Okay, thank you.
All right. As for my report, for all who's been watching the meetings, there is no glitch in the YouTube channel. I have returned to my normal seat from a 1-week hiatus. Reason being because I like to continue my presentation on the artwork. So this week's selection, it comes from our third grade students from Cleveland Stewart Elementary and Evergreen. And what they did was they used observational skills to create apple drawings, because what better object to draw in the school than an apple? And they produced using color pencils. These drawings help students to refine their skills and techniques. So while looking at it, you may just think, okay, it's just a blue background with green grass and apple. But if you look closely, each apple has to have the same details in it, whether it be the stem, a shine, a shadow. So you get to see the progression of a whole apple being eaten and finally complete, almost like the scene from Doctor Strange, going back and forth. It's great art, and I am looking forward to our next selection. And I also do want to thank the group that did provide us the coffee mugs. I promise to use this one this time.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
I'd just like to thank you. We have Student Cafe for the pen and the coffee mug, and that's all.
Thank you. Mrs. Warning?
Also, thanks to our Student Cafe for the cup and a pen, and also condolences sent out to the John Walco family on the passing of his wife last night. And also last evening at the Mars girls basketball game, our basketball player Lexi Jackson hit her 1,000 point. So
Congratulations.
there's still more basketball to be played, and the boys are playing Penn Hills right now, so if we're done, we can go.
Sure. With that, I'll seek a motion to adjourn. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned.